the Man Space Podcast. Take it away, fellas.
Thank you, voice girl, and welcome once again to another edition of the Man Space Podcast. Now, this is the voice of Russ, and with me, as always, well, I can't say that because he's not here. But don't fret, Man Space Nation, because I'm not alone. I got a special guest that's rocking with me. He is a country boy that made his way from Hartsville, South Carolina, to now living in Texas, South Texas, that is. He is a two-time now published author. His first book, he's been on the show before where he promoted his first book at that. But his first book was called I'm in Your Head, Your Thoughts Are Holding You Back. And now with his second book that just was released, Grown Folks Celebration, What Happens When You Clap for Yourself. Man, Space Nation, give it up for my friend, Mr. Reginald Mayshack. What's up, my brother? How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Man, would you believe that it's been about 6 years since I first met you?
And the great part about it, you and I, we've never had any kind of spat. You're the first guy that I know of that we've been in the same room. We liked each other. We loved each other. And it was always a beautiful time. And that's not a normal situation when you put two people together. But you and I,
Right.
we pulled it off. And I am so
Right.
thankful. I'm thankful. You guys are a
Well,
blessing.
when you took me in and from day one, he's like, my brother, we went out, had lunch the first day, and we just been rocking and rolling ever since. It's been a family relationship with me and
Yes.
you.
Yes.
So I appreciate you more than you know. And, peeling the curtain back just a little bit, Man Space Nation, I sent him a message a couple of hours ago. Say, hey, you want to come on the show? Let's talk about your book. He's like, sure, thumbs up. And we're rocking and rolling. So here we are talking about his new book that he has out, A Grown Folks Celebration. We're going to get more in depth with that a little bit later because there's something that just happened. This man just celebrated a milestone just the other day. Let's talk about this big birthday celebration that you had going on. I've seen some pictures now.
Seen some pictures?
I've seen some pictures.
Well,
It looked like you was doing your thing there, Reggie.
well, let's talk about when it all started. Actually, the celebration began on Thursday,
Okay.
September 4th.
Uh-huh.
Came in and we had a party on September 4th.
Yeah.
On September 5th, we had another party here at the house.
All
Big
right.
time, nobody left until about 2:30 in the morning. We got about 3 or 4 hours of sleep. And then
Mm-hmm.
on Saturday, it was the big bash. We had about
Wow.
125 people, about
Wow.
40 people that came from California, Colorado,
Mm.
Louisiana, South Carolina, North Carolina, Washington, D.C., Georgia, all over. And we had ourselves a bash. Loved it.
That is so awesome. That's a sign that you're loved, brother. And that's when people come out and pour out and pour into you like that. That just shows the impact that you've had on people's lives. The fact that they're willing to come and celebrate you. So that's a beautiful thing, man.
Well, I had one brother tell me, he says, I'm going to tell you something, bro.
Hmm.
He says, I like you. I don't
All
love
right.
you. And I said,
Okay.
what's the difference between like and love? And he
Uh-huh.
made a great point. He says, I need to like people before I love them. And I thought about
Hmm.
it because we're always supposed to love people. But if you don't
Right.
like someone, it's going to be
Uh-huh.
difficult to be with them. And he said, I like you because we got something in common. And I learned
Hmm.
something at that point to remind me when people have things in common, then you can easily get along with people because you got things in
Hmm.
common. But if you don't
Right.
have things in common, and I said, what we got in common? He says, your cousin. Okay. And from that point on, I realized when we go back, he and I and my cousin, which is one of my favorite cousins, every time we're in the room,
Mhm.
we have fun. And this has been going
Right.
on for about 25 years. So I learned something from him that time.
Mm. Understood. Understood. When it comes down to it, I mean, you do have to have something in common.
Mhm.
However, that commonality is the thing that actually brings you together,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
And then it's on you to build upon
Really?
that
Right.
because I don't believe in love at first sight.
I
I
do.
believe there's always there can be an infatuation
There
at
you
first
go.
sight.
Yep.
I don't believe that there's love at first sight. So I think that with anything, whether
Uh-huh.
it's relationship, whether it's two guys being in a friendship,
Right.
whatever, it's got to be some sort of commonality that brings them
Absolutely.
together. It was
Mhm.
commonality because we did the same job,
There you go.
that brought us together,
There you go.
and then we built upon that, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I was disappointed that my wife and I couldn't be there with you guys this weekend. We had our family reunion this past weekend ourselves out in Birmingham, Alabama.
Okay. Okay.
And for me, um, when they first made the announcement about, hey, we're going to do this, they gave us 2 dates.
Ooh.
You could do it. And they said, okay, well, I first, sat there and I just kept watching to see who was going to respond, and nobody responded. And so finally, I responded. I said, "Well, we got stuff to do on the first date. I can't make that one because I knew that we had like 4 different events back to back to back that we were already doing. I
Okay.
cannot squeeze that in. But if we do it on this weekend, we'll go." And so next thing I know, that's the date that was set. So I felt obligated because I was telling my wife, I'm
Gotcha.
like, man, I would really like to go to Reggie's party, but she's like, "Well, you're the one who sat there and told the family that you would come if it's on this date and it's on this date. So, you know, you gotta go. You gotta go now."
uh,
But it was good, man. I saw a bunch of family members that I probably had seen, but I
uh,
don't remember
gotcha.
because it's
Gotcha.
like if there's once again that commonality. Yeah, we had
Yeah.
the commonality of being family,
Right.
but there was nothing to build upon it because you didn't cross my path to a point where I'm going to remember you.
Right.
But
Absolutely.
I ran across some cousins that I hadn't seen in over 30 years,
Oh
man,
my
and
goodness.
it was good to catch up with them. And I talked to one of my cousins on the other side of the family. I got a
Uh,
chance to talk to him first time we didn't talked in gosh, since we were kids.
uh,
So it was great, man. We had a really good time and already lining up the next one for next year. So,
okay.
you know,
Okay.
yeah, I'm back off the road right now for at least a couple weeks before we get back on it. It's been a whirlwind for us over the last few months. We'll be back on the road again, probably the end of this month. We'll be back on the road doing it again.
Okay. Well, if you would
Yeah.
have come to the party,
Yeah.
there was a requirement for all the guys who were your age to
Uh-huh.
remember about 5 different dances during their
Ooh.
time. And so what
Oh
we
man.
did, we put the old school Cupid shelf on the screen, and I
Uh-huh.
had about 8 guys from
Uh-huh.
that generation, along with myself. We danced to that video, and I'll send you that video. So our backs was against the audience, and I'm gonna tell you,
Oh man.
listen, man, I saw guys in their 50s, they were bouncing, they were doing all kinds of moves, things that you thought people had forgotten how to do, but it came
Yeah.
natural. And then one of the
Right.
brothers, from the fraternity, after the song, he broke out and did his fraternity dance.
Of
That
course.
stole
That
the show. So
that
you
just
would
sounds
have
like a Q dog right there.
that's right. You would have had to put some moves on because
He was
everybody
doing
had to dance. Everybody had to
yeah, that definitely sounded
yeah.
like some atomic dog that was
Oh,
going on right
well,
there.
we walked off the floor to that song. So I knew that when that song came on, I knew it was
Yeah,
gonna happen. So
I
he
hear
pumped
you.
it out. He
I
pumped it
hear
out.
you.
Yeah, yeah.
Man,
No.
that is
We missed
all
you,
right.
brother. But you know what? Once I send the videos to you, you're gonna say,
Yeah.
boy, this dude here, is this the same dude that I used to work with, man?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but you know what, man? You get to a certain point, man, and it's about enjoying life. It's
Absolutely.
really about enjoying life, man.
Absolutely.
And I have spent so much time, trying to like, well, I shouldn't do this. I shouldn't, I'm at the point now. Let me just enjoy myself,
Absolutely.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So I see that in you, man, and I see how relaxed and happy you look now, man. It's great.
Russ, um, my bathroom, which I don't call my bathroom, is my music studio. I
Okay.
spent, once I hit the floor, I
Hmm.
spent about 45 to probably about an hour and 30 minutes behind that door. The
Mm,
music's real loud. I play anything I want to, and I
yeah.
always end up with some kind of comedian who's actually walks me out the door.
Mm,
So between all of that, when I hit the floor
yeah.
and come outside, my folks
Hmm.
know, hey, it's on. It's on for the rest of the. And then when I put my cap on, I mean, me in life in
Yeah.
my cap, whatever baseball team or basketball team or football team I'm supporting that day,
That day.
that day, because it changes. It changes. I just can't stick with one team. But
Okay. All
that's
right.
the
All
way I
right.
roll. That's the way I roll. Yeah.
You know what? I'm not gonna knock you because some of
Mhm.
my teams have been struggling of late. I won't talk about that one back there behind me,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it's all right.
I think the one where the lady is wanting to pay $70 million to get
Yes, it
rid
is.
of. What
Yes.
happened, Russ? What's going on?
So it's a lack of discipline. It's a
Oh,
lack of
Alabama?
focus.
I'm sorry for saying that
It's a
word.
lack. Yes, it's a lack of attention to detail.
Oh my.
It's a pure lack of effort on behalfs of certain players. We've had a strict and rigid society over the last,
Okay.
12, 15
Okay.
years,
Okay.
that it was run like a business.
Okay.
And over the previous, I guess, 15 years, we've gotten really spoiled
Oh.
because we knew 95% of the time we were going to win the games. This has taken us back to the years that this poster is actually signed by Don Shula's son
Oh
when
my
he was the head
goodness.
coach.
Oh my goodness.
So I'm not just one of those fans that just rolled in there just
Nope.
because Bama was winning.
No. No.
No,
No.
this poster was
No.
before
Uh-huh.
Saban. I've been around a long time. I've been through some lean years, so I remember those days. But we've
Uh,
gotten spoiled, and
uh,
now it kind of feels like those days are back.
ooh,
So
ooh.
yeah. So
With
this
so
lady
much
said if
talent.
she won the Powerball, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, the talent is
the
there,
talent is there. Like the talent should just went out.
right? But you got too many guys that's ready to make their next TikTok video
Ah,
rather than actually play
gotcha,
ball, man.
gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah, it's tough. It is
Okay.
actually tough. But listen, Reg, we're
Okay.
gonna take a break
All right.
and then we're gonna come back and talk about your book. But before we go into that, Manspace Nation, you know what we gotta do. We got to give you our sponsor, and you already know who that is. Manscaped. Gentlemen, and the brave partners who love them, let's talk about landscaping. No, not your lawn. We're talking about personal property maintenance. Introducing from Manscaped, the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra, the only tool that makes trimming your hedges feel like upgrading your sports car. With precision blades, skin-safe technology, and a light so bright you could land a plane. This thing doesn't just mow, it glides. So say goodbye to nicks, snags, and that terrifying moment when your clipper sounds like it's eating your furniture. Listen, guys, use our code TMSP20 and get 20% off your first order and free shipping. Because if it's free, I'll take 3. So fellas, if you want your front yard to look well presentable, then get the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra from Manscaped, because your body deserves curb appeal too. are back with our special guest in the house, Mr. Reginald Mayshack. And he is the author of the book, A Celebration, right? So we are going to talk about grown folks, a celebration of life. You know, this is kind of a inviting title. How do you define grown folks, and what does the phrase mean to you personally?
Well, I look at life in stages at this point. You got the 0 to 20,
Hmm.
you got the 21 to the 40, you got the
Hmm.
41 to the 60, you got
Hmm.
61 to 69, and then you got my group, the ones that are in that group where we we're having a great time. That's what we're having a great time. So when I think about those groups, I think about all the times that I had an opportunity to enjoy and to celebrate and to know that how I got through all of those particular areas in my life. And then I go back and I'm celebrating each one of those periods in my life
Hmm.
because I actually see and I'm reminded of what happened in those periods. And so when I speak to people, I try to find out where they are in life. And where
Right.
they are in life is where I like to meet them in life because I always tell them, I've been there, I've done that. And so I know that, I can't judge you. No one can judge anyone because we know when we go through those periods in life, we know the difficulties of those periods in life. So helping people to understand, you can enjoy that period in life because each one of them are different. They're just different chapters in your life. So learning to celebrate where you are is a beginning point of making sure that you understand that for your whole lifetime, going from one space to another space to get into those spaces, it's a celebration.
Mm. So, was there a particular moment that sparked the idea for you writing this book?
The point that made me realize that I needed to write about this book, and truly, I'm sitting in a funeral service, and the
Mm.
benches are hard, the choir is singing, I'm waiting to get out of there, and I saw where everybody was wanting to just cry. And I said to myself, why should I wait? Then I'm asking myself, why should I wait till someone comes to celebrate me and I'm in a box?
No. Right.
So I can't celebrate with you. And then at that point, that was the beginning point of where I realized, you know what? Let me look at celebration in terms of when you come in the world, people celebrate you.
Hmm.
When you leave out of the world, people celebrate you. But when
Right.
in the middle, that's on you. It's on
Mm.
you to celebrate yourself. And I'm not talking about being braggadocious, I'm not being
Right.
arrogant. I'm just saying that you can learn that these hands right here can represent everything that you know, give you some victories, and you can use your hands to remind yourself just how you can celebrate your own life.
Wow. I like the way you put that together. That's very powerful. So, what are some of the, I guess, like, are there different life lessons that are inside of this book that your readers will be able to gather?
One of the first lessons of life that they'll learn is number one, we've taken life for granted.
Hmm.
We've taken air for granted. We've
Hmm.
taken waking up for granted. We're taking living for granted. And when we do that, then we really don't realize, we've missed the opportunity to have gratitude. So when you can go back and learn to have gratitude just because your name was called and you woke up, because
Right.
there's no promise that you or I are going to
Hmm.
make it tomorrow. And when I moved from a small town in Hartsville, South Carolina, to a big town in Katy, Texas, and if you ever
Mhm.
come to Katy, Texas, and you get on I-10 and you
Mhm.
see the 14 lanes of traffic that are coming out out of Houston, and you see all that traffic around, you realize quickly that your life is not guaranteed to make it home.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I had to start looking at life as, because you see so many accidents, so many wrecks, see so many people standing on the side of the highway, and you just
Mhm.
read about and you see how traffic can shut down because of one accident. And so that changed my perspective on life and living and enjoying, making sure that I enjoy every day of my life.
Wow. That's awesome. So well said. You as an author, I guess when I met you 6 years ago, as I mentioned earlier in the show, I didn't see that you would ever put pen to paper. But what was the spark that inspired you to actually start writing in general? Because now you're on your second book now, and that's doing very well already. So, what inspired you to actually start writing?
Um, People will not always agree with this statement, but at the age of 17, I heard a voice in my head,
Hmm.
and the voice said, "Write." So my senior year, back in 1973, I
Hmm.
sat down and I wrote my very first page my senior year in high school. And get this, I was not much of a writer at
Hmm.
that point. As a matter of fact, after I graduated high school and I went my very first year in college, I flunked writing
Wow.
because,
Okay.
as an athlete, you
Hmm.
you have people to assist you to do all the
Yes.
things, because all they want you to do is throw a baseball,
Right. Or a
do those kinds of
touchdown, maybe.
things.
Yeah.
So I really wasn't focusing on the fact that, now I did make good grades when I had to take tests, but as of writing, the very
Hmm.
first paper that I wrote in my English class, I had probably 45 red marks on it. Here's what the teacher did. My very first day in class, we walk in class and she blew our mind, because what she says is, "You got 45 minutes to write 500 words." And she put a topic on the board. Blew me away. It disturbed everything inside of me, because I'm thinking that this is going to be an easy class. From
Right.
that point on, I called hell. And when I got my paper back on that Friday, because I'm remembering, the teacher walked up, she took the paper, and she came and stood at my desk around everybody. She threw the paper like that with red marks, and then she put it on my desk, and she put her hands on it, and it
Hmm.
was on my desk, and she stood there, and I'm looking up at her, looking at all the red marks. I knew at that point I couldn't write.
Wow.
So I failed. And then once
Hmm.
I failed, I had to go and do remediated writing. Well, this guy who was my teacher took me and he set me down. He says, "There's four things that you have to do. You've got to
Yeah.
have an opening, you've got to have some supporting statements, and you have to have a closing." And
Right.
he showed me exactly how to put that together. And then, but by the time that next semester, I had turned into an A student in my writing. So in a matter of
Wow.
1 year's time, now it don't look like that in my diary.
Hmm.
My diary was basically my thoughts, the good,
Right.
because I had on this shoulder here, I had the good guy on this shoulder, and on the
Of
back on
course.
this shoulder right here.
Of
So
course. Of
there
course.
was
Yeah.
two people writing in my diary.
Hmm.
So that's how
Yeah.
I learned to write.
Understood. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Wow.
from there, I mean, I go back and I read Fred, and I'm telling you, and I made a mistake one time saying to my wife before I got married, I said, I'm gonna let you read what's in my diary. I'm surprised she married me. And we've been
Some
together.
eye-opening things, huh?
Oh, some eye-opening things. Because when you write, you just put your ideals out there.
Yeah.
You just put your ideals out there. But now I absolutely love writing.
Wow. It's amazing to me. Um, a, you know, God giving you that focus because A, he told you to write. And I'll go ahead and call it what it is. God
Hmm.
told you to write.
Hmm.
And then you had to fail at it to redirect and find your purpose in it.
Correct.
And now it may have taken you, 50 years to come back to it,
Correct.
but you did it. And it's a full circle moment. And now, if that teacher can look at you now and see what you're doing, because not everybody comes out and hits a home run on their first swing.
No.
A
Absolutely.
lot of people got to fail. A lot of people got to strike out
Absolutely.
before they actually get there.
Absolutely.
I've told this story on the show before about how this show actually came about. I was sitting in church and I heard a voice that says, "Do your show now." I had wanted to do podcasting
Uh,
for a while. I had met a lady several years before. I was in New York City and I was talking to this lady, and she's like, "You have such a great voice. You should get into podcasting. Do you do radio?" I said, "Yeah, I did radio in college, but I got away
okay.
from it." She said, "You should get into podcasting." I'm like, "Okay, well, maybe I will. Maybe I'll check into that." She says, "I have a show. Listen to my show, hit me up, and we can talk about it and I'll help you get started." Right? I listened to her show. I thought her show absolutely sucked.
Oh.
And I'm just like, if this is what podcasting is, I don't want to do it.
Mm.
Right.
Mm.
And that was the first podcast I had ever listened to,
Okay.
was her show. I did not like it whatsoever. I couldn't even make it through a whole episode. To me, it was boring and awful, and I couldn't do it. Fast forward, I'm sitting in church and I hear this voice that says, "Do your show now."
Wow.
And I'm just like,
Wow.
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 Okay. And I'm looking around
Wow.
and nobody's talking to me. The pastor is preaching. So
Wow.
I start writing.
Wow.
Yeah, I open my tablet and I start writing. I started writing show titles. I
Right.
started writing names of shows. I had, different topics, everything like that. And I wrote out some co-hosts,
Mm.
right? Some people, because I didn't want to do the show by myself.
Mm.
So I wrote out some people I wanted to work with. I called Les because he was on that list. He was the first person I called on that list. He agreed right off the bat. We talked for about an hour. I sat in the car in my driveway. I
Mm.
talked to him for about an hour.
Mm.
And then we recorded on Tuesday. The next week, the show was on the air.
Wow.
That first show sucked. It was bad. Content was good,
Uh-huh.
but I was so proud of it because it was mine.
It was yours. It's yours. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it was awful.
Uh,
But it took a while for us to develop a rhythm in working to the show and continue, working at it and getting better and better and better. And so here we are in season 6 of the show, still doing
mm,
it. So
mm.
it goes back to you with your writing. Yeah, your first attempt wasn't all that strong,
Went all that strong. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
hey, you kept going and you kept working at it, man.
Yeah.
So, who would you say are some of your inspirations in this?
Well, great question. I believe in mentorship.
Hmm.
I have a lady, she is 96 years old.
Okay.
She's my mentor. She was at my party this past week, and for
Mhm.
the first time, the people in the room got a chance to listen to her.
Wow.
What she's teaching me is if I'm going to help people,
Mhm.
then my job and my assignment is very simple and very easy. Help the people that want to be helped.
Yeah.
And that made all the difference in the world because she was saying to me that everybody is not going to hang out with you.
That's
Everybody
true.
might not feel you, and the way you do things may not be happy and satisfied with a lot of people, but
Hmm.
you do what God has given you directive to do. And so she's my mentor as a female. Um, my other mentor is a 79-year-old man. His name is George. He's a
Hmm.
golfer. And because I like golf and I see this man taking care of himself, and he's 79 years old, and he's
Hmm.
whooping my, I can't say it, at
Right.
70.
We're a clean show.
Yeah,
Right.
we're clean show. So between the two people, both have a way of motivating me and encouraging me and helping me to see things from two different directions. And so
Hmm.
between those two, I always feel that I've got this support system. And then my pastor, who is Dr. Ed Montgomery,
Hmm.
he's a leader in my heart that has shown me that I have to be outside the box, that I
Yeah.
can't be traditional. I have to stay outside because the whole thing of it, the way he explains this to me is one day you're going to end up in a box.
Yeah.
So why stay inside that box all your life?
Hmm.
And so from that perspective, my mind and my imagination has just gone completely just so far till everything that I see now, because I'm a dreamer.
Hmm.
And even this book that I wrote, Tiger Woods has been a very powerful inspiration person to me, because
Right.
how can you take a person who's 49 years old and he's a billionaire?
Yeah.
And at one point, he was just like any and everybody. And in 49 years, he has become a billionaire. The question becomes, how is that possible? Well, I had to go study this young man before I actually wrote this book. And what I discovered is, number one, if I want to play golf at a
Hmm.
level that I need to play golf, I need to have a teacher who will teach me exactly what he does so I can go and I can understand. So he taught me by studying his life that everything starts with imagination.
Right.
You have to see it. And I'm talking about being able to see. If you take a tree, okay, there's a right side to the tree, there's a left side to the tree, there's a top of the tree. Each one of those parts is like a window. So you
Hmm.
have to learn to imagine hitting a ball through a tiny
Through the
window.
window. Yeah.
Yeah. And so when I saw that and I understood that, and he made me realize once you build a picture in your mind, and then you use the left side of your brain to execute it, my whole life changed. I went from
Hmm.
being a golfer who shoots 80, 84 to right now I shoot in the 70s. And that's
Wow.
and that's from this particular year, because I made a few changes that made me realize this is what I have to focus on. Because when you go out there, you got to do 5 hours, you got to focus.
Yeah.
No one teaches you in life to focus for 5 hours. It's very
Right.
difficult to keep a
It's very
mental
difficult. Yeah.
focus for 5 hours. And this is the difficulty of playing golf. And so
Hmm.
I've learned how to just move into spaces where um, I can take a break and then go back. And now I've become a painter. So
Hmm.
being a painter, I realized I can write books based on the fact that when I paint the picture, I am writing to what the picture looks like in my brain.
Mm.
And I learned that from
That's
Tiger.
awesome.
Mhm.
Wow. Wow. Addressing your first mentor that you mentioned, I think a lot of us have to realize that every single person on this planet was put here for a purpose. Now, not everybody gets to achieve that purpose,
Absolutely.
because there's so many people that never take the time to understand the purpose that they were given. So
Mhm.
they just try to take advantage and snuff other people out where they don't get a chance to achieve that purpose. But
Correct.
every person has a purpose, whether your role as a mother, a father, a student, a leader in society, a politician, you have a purpose. But the problem that we have is that we cannot please everybody.
Absolutely.
It's just like grabbing the Bible.
Mhm.
All of us can read the same verse in that
Mhm.
Bible,
Mhm.
and all of us can get something completely different
Mhm.
off that verse.
Mhm.
So it's a lot of us have our when we have our interpretations. You got to understand that when you're trying to tell something or you're trying to write for somebody, that not everybody's going to agree with you. They're
Correct.
not going to so you can't please. You have to do what you feel is right, and go from there. And that was one of the things that I kind of realized with this show in the very beginning of us doing the show. I really wanted to please everybody.
Mm. Mm. Yeah.
And we struggled because we were trying to reach everyone and make it just where and I realized I can't do that. I had to worry about, is it pleasing to me?
Mhm.
Am I doing something that is disrespectful to my family? And am I pleased with the work that I'm doing?
Mhm.
And when I got to that point, and Les came to the same realization, the show started to become better, at
Mm.
least in our views. It
Mhm.
became better, and we didn't worry about, if you don't like it, don't listen. If you love it, tune in next week. We're gonna
There
have
you go.
another show for you next week. you
Absolutely.
know
Yeah.
we're gonna keep rolling, and
Keep going.
and and that's what it does with your books, man. You can't please everybody.
Nope.
Not everybody's gonna agree with you.
Mhm.
We've had some controversial takes on this show.
Mm.
Not everybody's gonna agree with you, right? It's But you gotta put it out there and keep rolling.
Well, I'll tell you this. One of the most difficult things about writing this book that took me 9 months to write is I would get to points of the book where I would have to say, God, now you really got to help me through this because
Yeah.
this is going to be very difficult. This is going to be a difficult sell.
Mhm.
And I'll go back to the common situation and I'll take this as being a very common situation. There's one chapter in there, and I would love for people to buy my book.
Yeah.
But what we have in common is that you came from a sperm,
Mhm.
I came from a sperm,
Mhm.
everybody came from being a sperm.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
So the reality of it is we are all winners. And we're winners because we reached the egg. Now, if a person has a problem relating to that fact, then I can't help you. But the truth
Right.
of the matter is you fought your way to get over 400 million of your brothers and sisters just to
Mhm.
reach that egg.
Yeah.
So selling that story, it's been so easy for people to just stop and say, you're telling the truth. And it's true.
Yeah.
Because you have to sit down and you have to stop and you have to think from the day that you came into this planet,
Mhm.
came in as a fighter. And then when you look at your fights that you had to fight your way through everything that you've gone through in your life, it's just
Right.
like this baseball cap. They are
Mhm.
planning on winning whoever they play. You don't play to lose. You don't want Alabama to lose. So why should you be a
Right.
loser? So
Right.
teaching people the reality of life, because the whole thing of it is if we are made in the image, how
Mhm.
many fights have God lost? I don't
Wow.
see in the book where he's lost any of the fights.
Right.
And when you go back to Moses, there was like 10 fights that he had to win to get his
Mhm.
people out from under Pharaoh. He never
Right.
loses. So why would he create someone who loses? So somewhere in our lifetime, we got choked out of
Mm.
knowing exactly who we are and what's inside of us.
Wow.
So going back to the reality of helping people to know, you know what we have in common? We are a library.
Hmm.
We are a walking library. And guess what we
Absolutely.
got? Guess what we have inside of us? We have stories after stories after stories. You just mentioned how your story about creating your podcast. That's a
Yeah.
story. That's a
Hmm.
story. And the reality of it is, I'll take the Bible. You
Yeah.
show me one thing in the Bible that's not a story. There's a
So,
who, there's a
hmm,
where,
what? Yeah.
there's a what, there's a
Hmm.
when,
Hmm.
and there's a how.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay. So if you go through any story, you're going to find out that that's all the Bible is. 66 books
Yeah.
that got plenty of stories. And so my perspective of it, when I look at it, I'm looking at a story that someone wrote. And
Right.
so when you tell your story, I'm sitting going like, wow, I'm learning because you're telling me a story.
Mm.
Jesus had plenty of stories.
Right.
They were stories. So the book is about helping people to realize number one, you are a born winner. And it's been
Mm.
so easy to get up in front of people because I can tell in their eyes they're captivated from the
Yeah.
reality from the time that I show them. But sometimes I show the picture because
Hmm.
what I do that's very important to me is I have a blank piece of paper beside my bed, and I
Mm.
have a picture of my next book that's beside my bed, and I look at both each day because I'm building what needs to go into the next book. And I'm much more excited
Mm.
about the next book than the one I'm writing now. I just finished.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. You making this interview easy for me because you didn't stole my next question, the question after. So,
Okay.
so I can't top any of that. So I'm just going to go into
Oh,
where can people find your book? Because I'm sure that people want to listen to it after hearing this interview.
uh,
Where can people find your book?
all right. When you go into Amazon
Mhm.
and put in, let me spell it, Reginald. Last name is Mayshack. Now that came from the times when we was on the phone and we had to walk people through instructions how to get their phones back up and taking my
Right.
time. But yes, go onto
Okay.
Amazon and put my name in, and you'll see two books that are actually up that I have on Amazon. The first book is interesting because even now I'm dealing with a lot of kids
Yeah.
who they have to learn very early in life. Do not get hooked up with the wrong people.
Mhm.
If you learn it early in life, you find out that life is, you've got this circle of people, and even inside the circle of people, you can always have one person that Jesus proved to us
Yeah.
that might not be inside your circle. So when I talk about my first book, I talk about making sure you learn very early in life not to have the wrong people in your life, because when you have the wrong people in your life early, you can end up having the wrong people in the next phase of your life, and that can be very difficult. And you're wondering what happened is you missed the flags of knowing having the wrong people in your life. So my
Yeah.
first book, is really intended to get to the parents, to have the parents to sit down and to understand that I've given you a platform where you can go and you can talk to your teenagers, you can talk to your middle school kids, and just walk through, because the whole thing of it is communication, because
Right.
you're going to have friends,
Yes.
and those friends can be either the correct friends or someone that's not correct in your life.
Mhm.
So you have to understand exactly the red flags. So that was the reason for the first book, and that book has been tremendous.
Mm. Well, both of those books you can find on Amazon, and you are somebody that I am happy to call a friend. But how can the rest of my Manspace Nation, my extended family here, how can they follow you and get more information about you?
Well, my website, if you would, you can you post my website for me?
I will have it up there. I will
Okay.
have it up there. It's
Okay.
reginaldjacksonmayshack.com. And that will be up there. I will have that up on the link for everybody to see. And well, my friend, my brother, my family,
Yes, sir.
it's been a pleasure having you on the show. Once again, this is the second time you've been on the show. And we got to have you on now that you've already dropped a little nugget. You've given us some breaking news
I've given you some
that
breaking news.
that there is going to be a third book,
Yes.
you know.
Yes.
You got to come back on when you
Yes.
drop that third book and
Yes.
let us know that book is available and we can talk about that one. Once you get a good working title and everything, we're going to jump into that one.
I'll give you this as what I've heard been spoken to me.
Mm-hmm.
There are lots of people that will never go into a church door.
Right.
That audience is so large, so huge, until someone has to be able to pick up the pieces and move into that space.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why I'm enjoying even the thought, the fact that, you know what, I love people who say they've got reasons why they'll never go to church. And what I've already discovered in my research, they've got a lot of reasons
Yeah.
that they will never, ever go into a church house. But the beauty part about it, someone has to be there, meet them where they are.
That's right. That's right. My brother, it's always a pleasure having you. It's always a pleasure talking with you. I enjoy every opportunity I get a chance to rap with you. But we are going to take a quick break and
Okay.
we'll be back with more of the Man Space Podcast.
Okay.
As we do each week, we like to close the show with just a little bit of inspiration. Manspace Nation, you ever have one of those days? Like the kind where your to-do list actually laughs at you? Your coffee betrays you by going cold in 10 minutes, and somehow you spend the night scrolling through Instagram wondering, why am I not sleeping? Yeah, we've all been there. But here's the magic trick that life pulls on you. Tomorrow shows up anyway. Just like your reliable friend who never texts you that I'm on my way, but appears right on time with snacks. Tomorrow is a reset button disguised as a sunrise. It doesn't care if tomorrow is messy, awkward, or held together with duct tape and caffeine. The beauty of tomorrow is that it doesn't expect perfection. You don't have to leap out of bed like a motivational poster. You just get another chance, another 24 hours to try again, laugh at your mistakes, and maybe even wear matching socks this time. But bonus points if you don't. So today was a disaster. Okay, congratulations. You survived it. And tomorrow If it isn't flawless, no problem. There's always the day after that. Life, thankfully, comes with unlimited do-overs. Now, Manspace Nation, go to bed. You've got another day waiting for you. And who knows, it just might surprise you. Guys, that's the gist of it. Tomorrow's a new day. I mean, don't worry. If things went wrong today, tomorrow may be the day that you actually put the pen to paper and write that book. We don't want you to procrastinate and wait for tomorrow, but just understand if things just didn't go right today, make tomorrow better. It's a brand new day. So start off on the right foot. Give praise, give thanks, and go for it. Now, Manspace Nation, you know what happens every Monday night on WTMSTV.com. It is where you can catch the new episode of the Manspace Podcast 2 days early, WTMSTV.com, where every story has a stage, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 2 days early before everybody else gets it on the airwaves. And then every Thursday on WTMSTV.com, it's Throwback Thursday with back-to-back-to-back-to-back episodes of the Manspace Podcast every Thursday, WTMSTV.com at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Manspace Nation, hey, we got to give thanks to our good friend Reginald Mayshack stepping in. Make sure you go out to Amazon, get his latest book. It is definitely worth the read. I definitely encourage all of you to go out there and get that. Once again, thanks to Reginald for stepping in here with us today and stepping into the Manspace and sharing his story. And Les, I'll say your line for you. We out of here. Thank you for listening to this episode of The Manspace.
Whichever platform you listen to us on, make sure you subscribe and don't miss a show.
Remember to keep up with all the Manspace updates on our website, themanspacepodcast.com.
And you can follow us on Instagram at ManspaceNat1.
Until next time, Manspace Nation, he's Les, I am Russ, and we are out
of here.
Did we just become best friends?
Yep.